So, quick guided tour of where we're at. Those are going to get painted, those doors. That window was a window there that didn't open out onto anything because we had to close it off. That's been blocked in. There was a door there. That's been blocked in. All the wallpaper's been stripped. Most of the plasterboard is on the ceiling. There are spotlights. Wallpaper stripped off. Insulation in between the plasterboard, up there in the beams. Lots of electrical stuff going on. I've asked him to put where every socket is, we're going to have three sockets, and they're all going to come up to waist height. I've not been well. I've got the cold that we came back from, with Joe, that comes and goes. I'm sure it is that, but I had it all yesterday afternoon and evening, had it overnight, woke up feeling horrible this morning, have struggled all day really, on and off, didn't go to art for a second week. I'm just beginning to feel, I felt very congested about an hour or so ago, and that started to clear, and I've just had a fisherman's friend, so it's now clear. I'm beginning to feel a bit more human, so I'm hoping that tomorrow it will have done one. I've cancelled my doctor's appointment again. I had one Friday last week, which I cancelled. I had one booked for tomorrow, which I've cancelled because of this, because I'm meant to be having what we knew in the 70s, 80s as a HEAF test. I'm meant to be having one of those, and it's not recommended you have that if you're not well, because especially because I have a compromised immune system. I'm just going to be testing with a weakened immune system, so it's not really going to give a definitive result, so it's best not to do it. So I've cancelled that and asked him to send our prescriptions to the pharmacy, which he's emailed me and said he's done, so that's good. So we're going tomorrow with Duncan tomorrow afternoon to pick up the tiles in he's going in his van. I'm not going in the van. I don't want to go in the van, so we'll go in the car, and he can follow us, or we can follow him, or whatever. I don't want to sit in the middle in a van. I'm sure I'd end up sitting in the middle. My feet probably won't touch the ground because I'm short. So no, we'll go in two vehicles, go and do that. I had shopping delivered late afternoon today, so hopefully if I feel better tomorrow I can make something, cook something. I've got choices to cook. I should probably shove an oven in the chicken. Shove a chicken in the oven. I always get a chicken with the shopping because it's just easy to shove it in the oven and then decide what you're going to cook with it and not have to really think hard about it. But I've been watching some YouTubes of Mary Berry and Recipe 30 and seeing things that I like and thinking, I'll try that when I feel better. I'll try that when I feel better. Over the last few days, I don't know whether I mentioned it when I did the travel, the road trip, I've been thinking about buying a KitchenAid type thing, a stand mixer. Well, I've decided I'm not going to do that because I have a bread maker, and if I want to make bread, I can fetch that out and make bread. I have a man that can hold the handheld whisk. I can't hold that. I was trying to make a cake. Well, I made a cake. I made ginger cake the night before last, but I found that I couldn't hold the whisk for long. A bit like a hairdryer. I can't use a hairdryer because I can't hold something like that for long. So I couldn't hold the whisk, so Mark had to use that to do that. But for the amount of times I make cakes, it's pointless me having what will end up a shelf queen, a lovely stand mixer that looks nice, but because I don't make loads of cakes, and even though I sort of think, well, is that because would I make more cakes? Well, I might, but part of the reasoning over the years for me is that we're not meant to eat cake. And it's like, so I limit myself and think, well, no, if I don't have one of those, then I won't make cake very often. If I have one of those, maybe I will make cake often, but I don't think I will. So I've thought about it over the last couple of days and decided I'm not going to have that, not going to get one of those. It's a terrible waste of money if I don't use it. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to get Mark to fetch the bread maker through, and since we're eating bread at the moment, we're having, I don't know, we had meatballs. Oh, we had meatballs and pasta today because I'd got meatballs left over from the other day that I'd made, and I needed to do something easy. But we tend to be having low carb main meal, so I don't mind that we're having bread in the evening or toast or something. We had BLTs tonight for our supper. I took ibuprofen, and there was about an hour when I felt well enough to get up and do it with help. I said to Mark, "You cook the bacon." So Jo came briefly at lunchtime. She's had her pellet boiler installed, and it looks really nice. It looks really clean and easy. It looks smart, and I know Jo likes smart, whereas we've got our scruffy wood burner. I think it suits Jo more to have something a bit smart, and can't explain it really. It's got very straight lines, and so she just shared with me a hopper that she's bought that you can keep your pellets in. So I'm hopeful that she's going to have a nice winter where she's not got to log. What is it when you're having to pick stuff up a lot and you're not logging it around, are you? Flogging it around? I don't know. But anyway, she's not going to have to be lifting logs. She's going to have to lift 15-kilo bags. But I think she'll be able to do that. And if not, I think if her boyfriend is there quite a lot, he'll be able to top the hopper up for her, and then she just has to scoop it out. So it's controllable. So it's plugged in. It's on a timer, so she can have it come on when she wants it to. Come on automatically in the morning, and she can control the temperature, which is really important with a wood burner. With the wood burner, you don't have a lot of control. I got cold earlier because Mark had lit the fire this morning, so I was cold. And then I got cold earlier when Duncan had the door, because had the door open here, obviously because he's been working in here, but the other door was open because he was doing something, and I started to get cold. So I put another couple of logs on the wood burner, and then an hour or so later I was too warm. And you can't do anything about it. You can't turn it out. You can't turn it off. You just have to live through it. So yeah, her pellet burner is going to be nice and controllable for her and easier for her to manage. So I'm hopeful she'll have a cosy winter. I think she will. It looks nice. The guys that did it, installed it, and who she bought it from are the same people that did our kitchen and did our bathroom. So I know that they do nice work, and they leave things looking nice. I was talking to Duncan today whilst Mark had gone off to art, and I think we're going to book him next year to sort that laundry room out finally. It's not an important space, but it is so shabby, and it'd be quite nice to have it just unshabbied. He goes in there, obviously goes in there to use the loo, and he's also blocked that door off on both sides now. And he said to me, "Why's your tap wobbly?" I went, "I don't know, it just wobbles. It doesn't matter." He said, "Well, it does. It irritates me." So today he's tightened it because it irritates him. So there's a lot of stuff he goes in there, he's seen and thought that he would like to do. So I'll get him back next year, and then he can gut it and make it look nice and make it a nicer room. But it's not important. But I do feel a bit ashamed when people that don't know us come and that's the downstairs loo. But whatever. It was something I was thinking of over the last few days about offal, and how back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 50s and 60s, 40s, 30s, whatever, as a child, you'd be given what everybody's eating, and there wouldn't really be a choice. So you get what you're given. And I only ever remember um, forever that when the family had liver and bacon, I had sausage. And I really wish, I wish I'd asked Mum. I don't think it occurred to me. You know how it is, like your parents are dead, and there's questions that you think, I wish I'd asked that, but they're not important. But I do wonder what it was that's made it acceptable for me to be given sausages without any question. Nobody tried to get me to eat liver. They just gave me sausages. So I must have reacted really badly at some point in some way to liver. And we were talking about it the other day because I won't eat any offal, and I can taste offal, I can smell offal, and I won't eat it. And I sort of wondered, is there anything that you were not made to eat? Whether there were things that you were let off the hook with? Because it is, I think those of my age will know, very unusual to be let off the hook with food. You had what you were given, but I wasn't given liver. Thankfully, my mother-in-law loved stuffed hearts. Was it a stuffed lamb's heart? And I was like, oh my God, No, I used to cook liver and bacon for my first husband and for Phil and Joe, I think, so I would cook them liver and bacon, and I didn't mind cooking it. I quite enjoyed cooking it. I quite enjoyed the smell of cooking it, but I wouldn't eat it. So that's an interesting thing, isn't it, that I was thinking about? I'm just on Blue Sky and I'm just seeing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Talking about how there seems to be a connection with autism and circumcision, and suggesting that it's likely because after the circumcision they were given Tylenol. And it's like, he says, we don't have studies to prove it, but we're doing studies to find the proof. And it's like, fucking hell. Fucking hell. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry that you over there in America are stuck with these morons holding so much power over you, making decisions for you that are absolute bollocks. I'm so sorry. I wish there was something I could do for you, and there isn't. I know there isn't. Circumcision and Tylenol. Oh God. Oh God. Anyway, on that note, I'm going because it's just exasperating, isn't it? I'm pleased I felt well enough to vlog. I haven't felt well enough, so yeah. Oh, one final thing. Mrs. Brahma's back laying, and she laid a double yolker the other day with no epidural. She did very well. It's a great big egg, about that big, poor thing. Okay, thanks for watching, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be even better than I feel now. Bye.